Oh, hi. Today I would like to talk about receptive language disorders and specifically following directions. What I would do in a therapy session is I would be with kindergarten, first or second graders. And it's based on their level. And I would go over what are directions. Directions tell you what to do in order, such as first, second, third, or even more. So you know how to do or make something. I would explain why we have directions. If I want to bake a cake, I need to know which ingredients I need, what order I need to put them in the bowl, how high the temperature of the oven, how long I need to cook or bake the cake in the oven, and things like that. So it's important to know how to use directions and how to follow directions. So once I go over the skill of following directions and what it is that directions are, I will go over some of the vocabulary that will be in the activity. In this case, I'm going to be doing an activity that involves the words piñata and the word sombrero. So I have pictures of a sombrero and a piñata. I have the word piñata and the word sombrero underneath it. And then the next thing I would do is go over what the activity is to reinforce following directions. I have a couple of different levels of activities. It's basically the same activity with just different types with some differences. The first one I have with felt, and I have the shapes cut out of felt. And then I have my pictures of the items. Not only are we working on following directions, we're working on our colors, we're working on our shapes, and we're working on picking out the right shape that the direction tells you and the color. And then the item that goes on top of the shape. So depending on the level of the client, I would decide which set of directions I would use. I have one here where it has the directions with the picture. Put one piñata on the red square. And I have red colored and then I have a red square here. So what I would do to start out, I would model what we're going to do. I won't do one that's on the directions because I don't want to give one away. So I'll say, okay, I need to pick a purple circle. And then I need to put it here on the square. And then I need to put a piñata on the purple circle. So I will do that. And that's what the child needs to do, or the client needs to do. So then I say, now it's your turn. You need to read the directions out loud. And if the client can't read or has difficulties reading, then I would read. Put one piñata on the red square. And I have the ones, like I said, with the pictures. I have just the words with nothing colored. Or I even have it broken down even more. So first I would say, find the red square. So then the client needs to find the red square, put it on the map. And then the next direction is put a piñata on the red square. Remember what a piñata is. This is what the piñata looks like. So then they can look at the items here and pick out which one is the piñata. Okay, put the piñata on the red square. So that's what they need to do. So that's this one. Then I have also with construction paper, the same thing. I could use the same directions, or I could make it a little more difficult. And have all the directions on one page, and put one piñata on the red square. So I need a red square, and I need to find the piñata and put the piñata on the red square. And so that's what the student needs to do, or the client needs to do, is go down the line, put one stick on the yellow oval. find the yellow oval and put the stick on the yellow oval. So they're learning the colors, the shapes, they're learning to follow the directions. And if this is too hard, I can always go back to these directions, whether it's more broken down, if it needs to go all the way down to that level. But if I'm using this, I would think I would need to go down to this level, just have one direction at a time in front of them. So this might be too overwhelming. So then just do one direction at a time. Or even these directions where I have it broken down even more, I could always cover it up. If that's too much, cover it up. Find the red square. Once they find the red square, cover that one up. Put a piñata on the red square. So, you know, you could just kind of judge and see how the client is doing. If they're doing really well, and this seems too easy, we can come over here and do a little bit different. It's kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. This one, the writing is smaller, so I need my glasses. Like, color the first sombrero red, so they need to know what first, second, third is. So if they don't understand what first, second, third is, then I need to teach them that first is number 1. We're talking about the sombreros. So we got a first sombrero, a second sombrero, a third sombrero. If I need to, I can always put, you know, first, second, third, mark it for them to help them remember. Same with the piñata and the stick. Color the stick below, so they need to know what above and below is. And if they don't understand that, I need to explain. Below means underneath, above means on top. So that's more of the vocabulary. So I would just need to know what their vocabulary is if I need to teach more of the vocabulary so that they can follow the directions. This one says draw a purple circle around the third sombrero. So this is a little bit more difficult, but if it's too difficult to have all the directions on one page, I have them separate also. And if I need to, I also have the directions with the little pictures. So we always have that available. And if this is still too easy, or if they seem to be doing very well with this and I want to challenge the client a little more, then I have an even more difficult. We're back to all of the items on one page and all the directions on one page, and in this case, the client needs to actually draw the red square around the first sombrero. Draw the yellow oval around the stick below the last piñata, so you need to know what last means also. Draw a purple circle around the third sombrero. So that is basically what I would do to help teach someone to follow directions. Explain what the directions are, what it means to have directions. I would explain some of the vocabulary. I would go through and find out, you know, do you know what this means? Do you know what that means? Piñata, sombrero, first, last, second, above, things like that, just so that the client knows what to do. This one is kind of nice because it's got a little bit of texture to it, and sometimes it's more fun, you know, to have something to touch and to move around and to hold. The pen and paper is not as much fun, but if someone likes to color, they have to be able to pick out the colors, and one of them even draw the shapes themselves. So hopefully by the end, the student with a lot of practice will be able to follow directions better. Thank you.